So for our top five, we got something related to that.
Yeah, something very related to that. We're doing dance scenes. The most related to that. Yeah, I figured there's a couple fantastic ones in this movie, and it seemed to be pretty much every chapter of the movie had its own dance scene. So I'm like, fuck it. Why don't we just talk a little dance scenes? I put a limit on myself. I nixed all musicals
Oh
just
wow.
to make it a little hard on me. And it was because that was like half my list when I originally wrote them out. But I was like, why not get a little spicy today?
Okay. Okay. That's good
Yeah.
because there's no overlap because three of mine are from musicals. So
Well, perfect.
um, yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
don't know if there's no overlap. I got a real Jared pick.
Oh man. Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Should I start or do you want to start?
Why don't you kick us off?
Cool. Um, I saw this movie in my last year at SF, or living in SF. Came out in January in America, and it was. I really had no expectations because like I'm very kind of like on the fence about Gaspar Noé's
Mm.
filmography. I'm not like a big fan, but I also don't hate him. Um, and I went to the theater with my friend Oscar and his friend Uriel, who's also a friend. But so the three of us went, and we kind of didn't know what to expect, and the movie basically just opens. The movie climax in 2019 opens with a 45 uh, 5 minute 45 second long take of crumping, voguing, all like contemporary dance, hip hop dance, contorting. Like it's this whole mishmash of this really diverse group of dancers, and then they all kind of like 3 minutes in, they all kind of bounce up and down and like around the DJ booth, and you're like, oh man, that was really cool. And now they're just kind of dancing together, and then they freeze and pause, and they all like break apart in slow motion, and you're like, oh shit, that was part of it. That was part of it, and it's great. And Sofia Boutella, who's amazing in movies like Star Trek Beyond and stuff, and Kingsman: The Secret Service. She's also amazing in this film, and she's the choreographer, and she kind of hides in the background. And then at the very
Mm.
end, she shows off her stuff, and it's like, oh shit, this is what I came here to see. So
Nice.
number five, climax.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I feel like I've been saying that I'm gonna watch it for since 2019, really. um,
Yeah.
so one of these days I'll get around to it. But what I have gotten around to long ago, uh, very long ago, probably in 2004 when this movie came out, um, there was a little dance number that took the my generation, our generation by storm. And I'm talking the beautiful performance by John Heater, I think,
Mhm.
as Napoleon Dynamite, uh, laying it down to Jamiroquai in the finale. It's iconic. I have mixed feelings about Napoleon Dynamite. I definitely owe it a rewatch. But this scene stuck with me, and it always will stick with me, pretty much no matter what.
I I I I have no mixed feelings about Napoleon Dynamite. I think it's a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah, this was my very Jared pick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the dance only made my honorable mentions list, but
Oh man,
I also really love this number. Yeah, I totally
Mhm.
agree with Jared. It's one of the best of all time.
Hell yeah.
Um, for my number four, this whole movie is kind of one big dance, which is what I love about it. It's directed by Steve
Mhm.
McQueen. For those of you who don't know, last year he put out 5 feature films for Amazon Prime, and called it the Small Axe Saga, about the community of Caribbean immigrants in the UK, specifically London, and and you get a lot of really cool stories about like social justice and politics and injustice. And there's even one story where John Boyega plays a cop who tries to change the force from the inside out. It's really complex and interesting. I've only seen 3 of them. I haven't seen all 5 yet, but The second episode in the 5 film saga is called Lovers Rock, and it's basically um, it's just one long dance party. These kids, these teenagers and young adults, they leave the politics at the door and they just bump reggae all night long. And it's a specific brand of reggae that's native to
Mhm.
that area of the UK, called Lovers Rock, where it's like a mix of reggae and blues. Um, and they dance. And there's this one song it's the only slow dance on my list. And it's called Silly Games, and it happens at the exact midpoint of the movie, and I just like I cry watching it. It's so good. It's just pure, unadulterated cinema, no dialogue. There is dialogue in the film, and there is a story in the film, but you're seeing the characters develop with each and every dance number. And they're not even dance numbers; they're just kind of dancing in a house.
Mhm.
And it's really really good and really really awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out because I have seen zero of the five. I'm really
Yeah.
killing it on your list so far. Uh,
It's all good.
my number four is probably the most surprising dance number on this list.
Hmm.
If there was one movie where I did not expect a Broadway musical dance number to break out, it would probably be Jackass 2. So we got The Best of Times by Jackass 2. Um,
Oh
it's
man.
great. It's fantastic. It's surprising. There's a lot of great stunts, a lot of great falls. They don't minimize those to make the outrageousness of the Broadway musical section happen. They
Right.
still commit fully. Um, and I love it. And it's fantastic. A lot of great references to Buster Keaton and Chaplin in here, too, which is always cool to see because you don't expect Jackass to pay homage to their heroes, but here we are. And it's just fantastic. It's just wholesome friend fun.
Never thought I'd hear the word wholesome in the same sense as jackass. But there you go. He did it. He did the impossible, ladies and
I pulled
gentlemen.
it off.
he
That's why
even
you tune in every week.
he even had to take a drink of water because it was so.
I had to recover. I got a little heated.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
thinking about Steve-O's shirtless body gets me going.
Oh man, I love Steve-O. I also love Fred Astaire. Stupid,
Trans.
the stupidest segue. Probably the greatest, probably the greatest dancer in the history of cinematic acting. Uh, for his entire career, he never looked bad once, and
Mhm.
you can see it plain as day. And I loved his chemistry also with Ginger Rogers. They did 10 movies together. I've only seen like a couple, but the movie that I picked is Swing Time, because there are 4 like really iconic dances from there, and the dance that I picked is the one from the number Never Gonna Dance, which is a little bit slower than the tapping that they do in the very beginning, but it still kind of has moments where it picks up and speeds up, and it's really really breathtaking. They just look like they're gliding, and it's like so good it's not even fair to
Mhm.
other dancers. Like, um yeah, man, I've been on a big Fred Astaire kick lately, so I saw this movie a long time ago. I barely remember it, but I definitely owe it a rewatch. Swing Time, Never Gonna Dance.
Yeah, great pick.
Yeah.
It's not my number three though. Speaking of dance legends, Oscar Isaac.
I knew this would be on your list. I knew this would be on your list.
Of course it's gonna be. Yeah, it's Ex Machina. Get down on a Saturday night. It's just so psychopathic.
Yeah.
It's also very surprising, but the dancing is actually like fun and it's like kind of
Yeah.
good. And you're like, I hate that I'm enjoying this because it's not supposed to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's just a great vibe. The lighting is also unsettling and creepy. Um, yeah, it's just everything about it makes me uncomfortable. So it's that's how you know it's a great dance scene.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I had his quote on one of my Instagram accounts. I'm about to tear up the
What
fucking
was?
dance floor, dude.
Yeah. Oh, it was the setup was. Why'd you tear up her picture? I'm about to tear up the fucking dance floor, dude.
Yep.
It's so
Oh,
good.
so good. You know who else tears up the dance floor? Gene Kelly in Singing in the Rain. Um,
Yep.
um, he does it throughout the entire movie, including the iconic sequence where he sings in the rain. But
Oh,
the
spoiler.
the sequence that I couldn't pick a scene because it's just such a great movie, but
Mhm.
the I picked a sequence. It's the kind of dreamlike movie pitch that he gives at near the end.
Mm,
um so basically he's like, this is what the movie's going to be, and it zooms into the screen, and it unlocks this like crazy like dream world, where he just yells gotta dance, and it's like and then he it's a really really interesting number because it's like three different songs mashed up into one, and it kind of like comments on show business and comments on like the trajectory of a celebrity's life,
mhm,
and passion, and the passion of an artist. And it does all of this, and says all these deep things in the choreography without ever losing the sense of play that's pervasive throughout the rest of the movie. So that's why I had to go with this one.
yeah. This might be a hot take, but "Make 'Em Laugh" is the best number in that entire film.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
um, Speaking of films, here's another one. My number two, a a common theme that we love here at the Jared Cast is uh, women in horror dancing alone in their rooms, and what better example of that than A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
Yes.
Um, I had to include it. I feel like we've talked about this scene maybe three different occasions on this, so I'll keep it brief. It's a great scene. It's probably my favorite scene in that whole movie.
Yeah. I think we spent like 10 minutes talking about just that scene, and it was both of our favorite scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
Hmm.
My number one is not one that you would normally think of when you think of like great musical dance numbers. I'm sure there are better ones than this. But this one's kind of been in my head since like seventh grade. Like, I love this number so much. It's from Fiddler on the Roof, 1971. The song that they sing is "To Life," and basically the setup is that they're all the Jewish men are in the bar, and they're getting drunk on vodka, and they're celebrating the main character's betrothal to one of the other men in the
Hmm.
community. And they start doing their like traditional Jewish dance, and it's great. And then you hear this voice in the corner of the room, and everybody freezes, and all the Russian soldiers are all just grouped together, and they start doing a Russian folk dance, and to congratulate the guy as well, and congratulate the betrothal. And then they start doing a dance off with traditional Russian dancing and traditional Jewish dancing, and then they start teaching each other the dances, and it's absolutely beautiful. They're
Yep.
doing like jigs and shaking their shoulders and their hips, and it's still the manliest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it's amazing. I love that scene.
Yeah. Um, it's great. That's fantastic, and it slipped my mind. Good pick. Good pick.
Hmm.
Speaking of Jewish and European men, my number one pick uh, is one that I rewatched last night, actually. I love this movie. It's got a fantastic 80s aesthetic, and they could not have picked a better song for this scene from the 80s. And I'm talking the dance party scene in Call Me By Your Name with
Woo!
the psychedelic furs. Um, it's fucking fantastic. Not only are you like watching Elio fall in love with Oliver just through his eyes right there, despite Army Hammer's terrible fucking white boy jig he's got going on. It just feels real, unadulterated fun on Oliver's end.
Yeah.
Some of the close-ups on just like the Converse like skidding across the floor are great. Timothy Chalamet drops an iconic little shoulder roll around the floor. All around, it's just a lot of fun. A lot of great character development happens in this scene through no dialogue whatsoever. You see Elio go in for a play with Oliver, but he kind of pushes away. So Elio goes with his backup lover of the film and dances with her instead. And it's just great. You get a lot of just insight into these characters silently through bad white boy dancing. And I love every minute of it.
Oh man, I forgot all about that scene too. That's actually the first movie you recommended to me, I think, because it had just come out.
Maybe. Yeah.
It had just come out when we met.
Yeah, it was a real deep cut. Really hitting you with those obscure films early.
No, man, that's good. That's good. I need to rewatch that too because I've only seen it once.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a fantastic rewatch. I think I had seen it twice before, and I was like, "Damn, this movie is fucking crazy good." Like, I know that's
yeah,
a cliche thing, but it's still fantastic.
hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any honorable mentions?
No, I'll stick to the integrity of the top five.
I I wish I could, but I don't have the strength. I also had Napoleon Dynamite and Ex Machina on there.
Mhm.
I had another Fiddler on the Roof number where they balance bottles on their heads and do a jig. It was insane. Um, the Suspiria remake has a really great dance scene
Mhm.
that's very contemporary and mixed with ballet. I got the Dirty Dancing finale because why not? I
Yeah.
got I got the Footloose dance in the movie Footloose and the Footloose dance in the movie Hot Rod, and that's it.
Is it sad to say I would put the Hot Rod one above the Footloose
Oh, I
one?
would too. I would too.
Good, just keeping that clear.
Yeah.
Um, Both our lists are wrong though, because the only dance number that matters is the twist in Pulp Fiction.
False.
It's that's it.
I'm proud of us for not picking that scene.
Yeah, and I genuinely don't think it's better than any of them on my list, which is weird because Napoleon Dynamite's on my list, and it's a far worse movie. But
What? What are you talking about?
they really say Napoleon Dynamite is the Pulp Fiction of awkward teenager movies.
Totally is. Totally is. The whole thing is hipster humor. It's not even
It
fun.
really is. Absolutely.
Uh,
Oh, speaking of
Anyway.
hipster humor,